crammed in holding cells for several hours. The sheriff's department said it was not a problem isolated to their parish.
Tonight, Lee Zurich looks at other parishes' policies and finds more minimum jail standards not being met.
Tuesday, January 21st, video of a holding cell in the St. Tammany Parish Jail shows inmates locked up, most for at least 24 straight hours.
Would you ever leave the cell?
Every 3 days they would let us shower.
That's the only time you would leave the cell?
Yes, yes.
So every third day you showered, that's it?
That's it?
Other than that, you were in the holding cell?
Yes. Full time, yeah.
While inmates have said time outside the cell was rare, the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office had a different explanation.
Is it fair to say that they're completely locked down 24/7 in holding? The answer to that is absolutely not. That's incorrect. While technically they are assigned in the holding area, they're not strictly confined to that space for that time frame. So there is some mobility of the inmate or the pretrial detainee at that point while they're in the holding area.
Is there?
There is.
But a review of nearly 100 hours of video reveals inmates only seem to leave for an occasional shower, medical check, or to have the cell quickly mopped.
For 16 days, did you leave that holding cell?
The only time I left was for showers. Yeah, for the showers.
According to the state's minimum jail standards, inmates shall be provided with some form of indoor recreational activity on a daily basis. Those same guidelines say inmates shall have access to a shower on a daily basis.
The available to shower up to 3 times a week and as needed.
Okay, but it says every day they should.
That doesn't happen in our facility.
So again, you're not following the law.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and as needed.
Our investigation has already shown St. Tammany Parish keeps inmates in holding cells for more than 2 weeks, and it's been going on for almost a decade, even though the state's minimum jail standards say inmates must be moved to an appropriate housing area in 48 hours.
That's a systemic problem.
I would say that it's a problem throughout the entire correctional facility throughout the country, not just here in St. Tammany.
So we asked other jails in our area about their procedures. We found they treat inmates differently. Orleans Parish told us they have a holding area, but inmates are moved to cells within hours. Jefferson Parish says they move inmates to a section with a shower, phone, and bed after 24 hours. St. Charles Parish moves within 72 hours, but in an email, the sheriff's office says many holding cells have beds. St. Bernard Parish told us inmates only remain in holding for 3 hours.
It's clearly not legal or constitutional for the parish to house such a high number of detainees in a small space for a long period of time.
Right now, St. Tammany Parish has 1,030 available beds, nearly the same amount as Jefferson Parish and not far off from New Orleans.
The jail is not too small. That's not the problem. They have enough jail beds. It's a question of how they're using those beds.
Even though Orleans, Jefferson, and St. Tammany have similar jail populations, crime in these parishes is much different. Take larceny theft. According to state records, in 2017, Orleans Parish had 12,000 cases. Jefferson, 7,900. St. Tammany, just 1,200. But St. Tammany Parish is the only one that says it's forced to keep nonviolent offenders in holding cells for weeks.
I think it's important to remember what a jail is. Jails are short-term holding facilities for people who are arrested who are presumed innocent, right? Any one of us could land in jail for a traffic citation, for some minor low-level offense. So it's not like this is a long-term prison where you have folks who are convicted of serious crimes.
The jail is acting like a prison, though, too. That's because St. Tammany Parish has decided to take state and federal inmates.
The problem seems to be one of process and who they're choosing to house in the beds that they already have.
It's a choice issue.
Correct. I mean, it seems that there are several hundred people who have already been convicted of state crimes who could be sent to the Department of Corrections system, but they're not being. They're being held back in St. Tammany Parish. So those folks are occupying the jail beds that should be used for St. Tammany Parish residents when they're arrested and processed through the jail system.
In our interview, the sheriff's office repeatedly tried to paint a picture that the alternative to a stuffed holding cell was putting violent offenders back on the street.
Going to hold him as long as it takes to make sure that he doesn't put a dangerous criminal out on the street. We refuse to allow dangerous criminals to roam the streets.
But we've been able to further decipher the sheriff's own records that raise more questions about that response. Take Ahmed Bakr, brought to jail for missing a court date on December 2nd of last year. Bakr remained in holding for 16 days. But 24 hours after being brought to the jail, records show the sheriff's office kept Bakr in holding even though 17 beds dedicated to pretrial inmates were open.
It's disgraceful. We should be ashamed.
On December 3rd, records show the jail had 105 open beds. To Tulane law professor Joel Friedman, a clear decision by prison leaders to unnecessarily break the law.
If they have open beds and they're leaving people in the holding cell, why? I can only think of one reason. It's cheaper to keep them in the holding cell than to put them in a separate room where they have access to the bathroom and the showers and all the rest. It's like a kennel for human beings. That's what it is.
And you can check out our other investigation into the St. Tammany Parish holding cell. Just log on to our website, fox8live.com, and click on the We Investigate tab.